do it in a nutshell. I'll keep it as simple as possible without too much whiz-bang. Because the way I've looked at this topic, and because let's give you some context, we're now in the Atlantic season. Between May and November, the entire Caribbean or the Atlantic system is prevalent with hurricane warnings. You know, so by this time, we already know how many hurricanes are forecasted, how many will develop into Category 3 or stronger storms, how many will be just tropical depressions. But what's been happening is last year, 2017, they predicted, let's say, 7 major storms. They said, well, hurricane strength storms. And they said there would be like 11 regular storms. Unfortunately, they got it completely wrong. And there were 12 back-to-back Force 2, Force 3 hurricanes in the Atlantic system. Of course, I mean, you remember this, right? Even by November, people were still being evacuated out of the Florida Keys. And it's catching a lot of people off guard. It's creating major disruption. The actual cost of hurricane damage went through the roof last year. Insurance companies had some of the biggest payouts to do last year. And
all the touristic damage and all the population damage in general. I mean, it's really a horrible thing to go through.
Absolutely. The severe consequences of hurricanes, just like earthquakes, we talked about volcanoes yesterday, but if this works, what we're talking about in UNAM, which is one of the top universities in Mexico, the scientists at UNAM have developed a technology, an innovation, where they can control hurricane intensity. So the idea is...
How about that?
I know.
How about that?
A lot of people, even Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates was saying years ago he was going to do something, you know, in terms of technology to try to ward off hurricanes. Now, it's very expensive, it's very complex, but there are lots of factors that UNAM scientists are working with right now to actually, first of all, they're going to increase intensity. What they want to do within the oil platforms around Mexico, areas like Campeche and out in the oil rigs, they're looking at waves, how high the waves are like the tidal waves that come with the hurricanes. Let's say that you've got a 25-foot wave and it's going to clatter and destroy potentially an oil platform.
Right.
Well, they're actually intensifying that to see if they can, you know, see how a hurricane will develop, look at its behavior by intensifying it with technology to see, okay, we'll take it to 25 to 35 foot tidal waves.
Oh my gosh.
You know, look at the hotel zone. I mean,
and then what?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, they intensify it, and then what?
Well, if they can control the intensity, increasing it, they can also reduce intensity, right?
And what happens if they cannot decrease it?
Well, the idea is obviously we don't want to increase destruction, we want to decrease, and we want to, in fact, dissipate hurricanes.
Can they actually use just the regular weight and from there try to decrease it instead of increasing it?
Well, let's look at the hypothesis.
That's the question.
If we know what elements feed hurricanes, if we take those elements out of it, right, if we can extract the force of a hurricane, which is very difficult, right?
I think they want to play like Doctor Strange, like let's destroy life and then bring it in, build it back up or something. I mean, that could be dangerous to
it's a very dangerous experiment. It's a very dangerous experiment, but it's in obviously a controlled experiment within laboratories, okay? Before we, you know, take this out into the ocean or into the environment.
Right.
So this is a very expensive process. At the moment, of course, it's controlled and it's within laboratory. But like you said, if they pioneer and perfect this process, we could be looking at the start of something revolutionary in terms of us as human beings against Mother Nature. The force of Mother Nature is so destructive.